Okay, so without further ado, let's jump right into Evoland Any Percent, done by the one and only Crrool.
Okay, cool. So welcome everybody. We're gonna jump right into Evoland. Let me actually give you a countdown. Sorry. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So basically what Evoland is all about is every chest I pick up not just gives me an item, it unlocks a part of the game. So yeah, that was a chest for sound effects, and we'll be picking up chests for all kinds of stuff. So as we go along, we'll not just be evolving our character, we'll literally be evolving the game around us. So this is gonna finally get us some sound. That makes things more interesting. Now, because it's a marathon, this is the only extra chest I'm gonna pick up. That's saves. Saving could be useful, because everything at this point one-shots me. So it's not uncommon to die here at least 5 times before I usually were to get a run in. So let's try to not die. That's probably for the best. Okay. So yeah, basically, like we're in the kind of, yeah, that's what I mean. I die in one shot. That's not uncommon. It only loses a few seconds right now because of those saves, so it's not a big deal. Very soon I'll actually have life and I'll be able to tank it. But yeah, basically we start off in a little bit of a Zelda 1 kind of style. Yeah. And slowly we'll be evolving. So now from just having directional keys... Oh wow, how the hell did that thing hit me? That's generally after the first like 4 minutes of the game, you don't ever die again. Unless it's intentional. Like, those bats are really coming at me today. This is it normally takes me a few times to just get a run in altogether, but this is... I'm just gonna take it slow now, because this is getting ridiculous. That is not very common to happen. Not in that regard, at least. Go away, bat. Thank you. Okay, we passed it, finally. So yeah, here we need to kill a couple of these statues. That's to unlock the path up ahead. And we'll be switching game mode again, because, well, first of all, we're gonna get our inventory, and we're gonna get a bit of an RPG-style game here. And that chest is to get me some turn-based battles. Now, I need to kill a total of 4 enemies at the very least. I can get packs of 1, 2, or 3 enemies, and it can be either emuks or slimes. Slimes are 2-shot generally, emuks are 3 shots. And this is mode 7. So with some luck, I'll get a 3 encounter, and you can finish off in 2 encounters. I did not. That's unfortunate. But this is probably the RNG heaviest section of the entire game. Like up to pretty much the moment I enter town is pretty RNG heavy. After that, it gets pretty easy. There's a double. Okay, that was not too bad. Had I gotten an extra encounter, would it have been 3? It wouldn't have been a disaster, because it gets me a safety potion. So I don't lose a whole lot of time. But ideally, you know, we just skip that altogether. And with that, we're gonna enter this place. That chest there, by the way, had place names, which isn't too relevant for us. I am, again, going to make that safety save. That's one of the last safety saves I'll have to make. Okay, come on. And the last one. I'm trying to kill him as close to those rocks as possible, because that's where the chest will spawn. Saves a bit of walking around. Very minor amount of time, but it helps. We're gonna go into the well, and we're gonna finally grow up a bit. We've still been running around in kid form, and that doesn't really help a lot. So let's actually become an adult. That chest, by the way, has NPCs, and, you know, we don't need NPCs. They just talk and waste time and are dumb. Like, it's just, no. They're completely pointless. Entering houses, though, is kind of important. So a bit further to the right, there'd be a barrel blocking my path, and it wouldn't allow me to pass because some ghost is haunting the mines there. So it wouldn't do that unless I have good equipment. So we're gonna buy a long sword and a copper armor, and with that we have good equipment, so now they'll finally let me pass. So, like I said, there's supposedly some ghost haunting the mine up here. We don't know a whole lot about it, but I think it's time we investigate, like the heroes we are. First there's this chest. It's a forced fight. Because forced fights nowadays appear in chests. Luckily these things are all one-shots, so it's pretty easy to get through this. And with that, we're gonna get our second character. This is Kyrus. And Kyrus is a mage character, so now we have our warrior and a mage. Because, you know, that's, I mean, a warrior and a mage, as your classic RPG would imply. So we're gonna stick in a kind of RPG kind of setting, at least for a little bit.
And we run from every encounter.
Yeah, but at this point, we haven't unlocked experience points yet, so killing these things would be completely pointless because, you know, we wouldn't be gaining levels. So even from a grinding perspective, it wouldn't be useful. I'd get money for it, but I don't need that kind of money. Now, we can actually get levels now, but it's still not worth it, because getting levels is slow. I can pretty much just do it with whatever I get. So I'm gonna take a safety heal there. I don't need to save, because we get an auto save pretty soon. And this next boss, he cannot kill me unless something really stupid happens and I'm not paying attention at all, and even then it shouldn't be able to. So this is the first glitch. Normally, you'll see me go into the menu a lot throughout this game. What I did there is as soon as I stepped on the button, I went into the menu. So it started rumbling for the unlocking. Now, normally that would stop you from moving around. But because I'm in the menu and then canceling out of the menu, it will actually allow me to keep moving. It saves like frames, but you know, it's the little time saves that matter. So this is the first boss. This is Kefka's Ghost. And those of you that are a little familiar with RPGs will probably get the reference here. If not, for those that don't know anything about RPGs, Kefka is the final boss of Final Fantasy VI. So we'll see a lot of references to other games throughout this game, but this is like the first major one. So this is his ghost form. I can't actually do anything while he's in ghost form, so we'll just have to wait here. And as soon as he gets out, we can go on with killing him. I'm gonna take an extra heal because Kyrus is getting really low on health and I don't want to risk it. Normally I would just go for it until she's below like 25, but at this point, you know, it is a marathon run. Let's not risk anything. He should die this cycle. There we go. So that was Kefka's Ghost. We gained level 3 off of that, which is basically the level I would have also gotten had I killed one encounter. And it's really all the levels I'm going to need for the final boss. So again, we can pick up a lot of chests here. Now this is a very crucial one. Life hearts, so I won't actually get one shot anymore. This at least solves the problem we had earlier, where, you know, every single bat with a bad pattern could kill me. And we'll just make our way through. So we've kind of entered the 3D Zelda era, and we're just running around with our swords, slashing things. And we're gonna make a trip back. So that stone we couldn't pass earlier, this is where that would lead us. So this is where I died a ton just now. We've literally traveled back to that area. That chest, by the way, has a story. That's the save I used. You know, all that kind of stuff. It just gets you back to where you were before, but now in a completely different setting. Okay, another important chest, life drops. You know, so that if I actually get hit, I can get heart pieces to heal up again a bit. Now, there are a lot of other chest arounds that would make the game look better and stuff, but we don't really care for that, because, you know, it's slow to pick them up. There is one coming up that's forced, that's this one. we're gonna get a three-dimension world. And with that, we're entering probably one of the most difficult dungeons in the game. There is a lot of little things you can do throughout this dungeon to save time. So these are the Noira mines. Going into the menu that I mentioned earlier, you'll see me do that a lot throughout this dungeon. And we can do that, we can use that to do some pretty cool things here as well. So let me just show off the first one. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. So that's not opening because I'm actually moving off screen. I completely moved all the way there between opening it and actually having it open up. These red wizards are a pain, by the way. We're gonna be seeing them a lot, and they're just a pain to deal with. So 3 bats, we need to kill them quickly. So I'm going into the menu here. Let's see if we can get this to do that, because that's possible. That's the little time saves you can do. That's actually the first time I've gotten it. I've been practicing that one a bit, but it's been giving me a hard time so far. We'll be doing way cooler things in this dungeon similar to that, but it's just to show off what going into the menu can do. I was slightly late there, but it only loses me like half a second. So before we can move on, there is this little chest with a key here we need to grab again before we can actually get to the door. So yeah, there is a way to do something similar to what I just did with the other key, but I have not been able to get that down yet. And those are all very, very minor time saves, so it's not a huge deal that I didn't. So first off, we're going to get rid of these skeletons. I'm going down there to force them to move that way. It gives me a little bit more room to walk around here. So yeah, we can do something similar here. Just because we can. And now okay, so there's another one coming up right now. And this is probably the most useful one. It saves like half a minute. Because we can actually skip an entire forced fight here. So I'm actually going to wait here. I'm going to move around. So there's a forced fight with 3 skeletons in this room. But we can do this. So yeah, that skips that entire fight. Saves, like I said, roughly half a minute, I'd say. So it's a good bit of time save there just by going into the menu. This guy is a bit RNG. You just have to hope that he's close to the hole there. So yeah, again, just walking off screen because we can. We don't really care. So yeah, this is probably also the dungeon that takes the most focus to actually do properly. There's a lot of little things you can do wrong here that lose a lot of time. And at this point, I cannot save because there's a death warp coming up. So I actually have to make sure to not save anywhere and not die anywhere. And because of not dying, I need to be kind of careful with my health as well. So yeah, we're just gonna damage boost through these spikes. When I'm opening chests, I cannot get hit. So whenever I'm opening a chest like that, you know, we don't care. We just go with it. So yeah, there is a save point there, but it would waste a lot of time if I were to get it. So we're gonna skip it. And this is usually a part where in any normal run, I would get my health rather low because of that death warp coming up. It saves a little bit of time to do that here because I can take two pieces, like half a heart of damage instead of a quarter heart. Because of it being a marathon setting, I'm not going to do it as much. I'm going to do it with the first heart, but the other 2 I'm going to keep for safety. Ideally, you want to be as low as possible getting out of that. So this is a room. Normally, you'd have to fight every enemy here, and that opens up the door to the left, and you can walk to the boss room. But if we get the boss key, which we're just gonna get here, the door changes. Now, if I were to cancel out of my game and go back in, I would be back at the start of the dungeon, and I would have just wasted a whole lot of time. But if I die here, then the game considers that I actually picked up the key, and it counts. So that saves me fighting, I think there's like 10 different enemies in that game, or in that room. So it saves me fighting 10 enemies, and I can just go here and move straight to the boss. It also helps that my health is full, which kind of helps for this boss as well. So yeah, this is the first boss of the game. It's gonna be a shadow image of myself. Also, his text is awesome. He says, "You shall not pass," which is, I suppose, a reference everybody probably gets. So this guy, he's got 3 moves. He can shoot fireballs like that. He can come charging at me, and he can summon bats. Ideally, I want him to charge at me and then run into the wall, because that's the only way I can damage him. Okay. That worked still. I figured that wouldn't. It doesn't really matter if I take damage, because I'm gonna get a full heal soon. Okay, that was the boss. Now first of all, we're gonna get the legendary sword here. This is the sword that we'll be using for the remainder of the game. It may look similar to some. It might not, but yeah. And with that, we're coming up on not so much the hardest, but definitely the most important skip of the game. So that chest has all the random encounters in this and for pretty much the entire remainder of the game in it. We just skipped it so we won't get any random encounters. It saves approximately 7 minutes, I believe. So it's a pretty big skip. It is pixel perfect, but you can line yourself up with the flowers to make it rather easy. Yeah, so this is, this might also seem somewhat familiar. We started off with an FF6 kind of area. We're now moving into Final Fantasy VII kind of area. So this guy, he's named Sid. Again, might sound awfully familiar for those that have played Final Fantasy. Yeah, he's got an airship. I believe that airship is called Highwind, which is also a reference. This game it's just got so many Final Fantasy 6 and 7 references everywhere. So basically what we need to do, Kairos, she's gonna try to learn more powerful magic, and we're gonna have to look for some bombs. We need to, in order to enter the Black Citadel, which is where we're gonna have to fight pretty much the final boss, we need to gather 2 amulet pieces. And we know where they are, but in order to actually be able to access it, we need bombs. Now the kid chasing the butterfly there, he's actually got that bomb, but he won't give it to us until we've talked to a whole bunch of people. We can, by the way, remove those loading times, but we don't have the money to do so. So grinding out that kind of money isn't worth it. So we just won't.
Oké, Nederlands? Huh? Kun je helpen? Met dit? Ja, laat ik dit gevonden. Ja, paspoort gevonden.
Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and talk to everyone here. We need to talk to a bunch of people in specific orders, and they all point us to somebody else. So next up we're gonna be talking to the mother of the boy. That was awkward, by the way. That might just have been me. You guys probably heard that. That was weird. Not really sure what just happened, but I guess that's just what happens if you're doing a live marathon. Oh well. Oh well. We'll just deal with it and go on as if nothing ever happened. So now that we've spoken to the mother, as well as every other person in this town pretty much, we're gonna go get the bombs here. And now that after about 3 minutes of walking around town, we finally have those bombs, we can go look for that first amulet piece. So there's 2 amulet pieces. The amulet has been split in half, and we're gonna be looking for both of those pieces in order to enter the Black Citadel. We need to enter the Black Citadel to meet the final boss, which I'll not say the name yet. You'll find that out soon enough. So, another interesting thing here is if I'm in the menu, I can't actually get damaged by my own bombs. So, whenever I need to use a bomb, I can enter the menu and I won't take damage. So, we've just discovered time travel. Whenever I hit one of those crystals, we travel back in time to the world where it was all, good and 2D, and because that was fun. Okay, coming up on a pretty difficult room here. I need to actually try to not take damage here, or at least as little as possible, because I'm gonna have to warp, and I'm gonna have to take damage in order to do that. So there's a very specific path here that leads to the center chest, and that chest has the bow in it, which is kind of relevant if we want to continue. Now, these bats, however, they move randomly, and they can just come up at me and just decide to push me into the lava for no reason. That's happened many times. Luckily, we're getting off easy, getting the bow, dying there to spawn back at the start, and we're moving on. Okay, why did it not get that? Thank you. So earlier, there was a little tree blocking my path here. By traveling back to the past and setting that little tree aflame, we can actually just remove it entirely. Now here's another little skip. So normally you'd have to light this tree, but you can just use a bomb and get through like that. Saves us having to actually remove the tree. It's all little time saves, but it's all good to get that. And there's another time travel thing coming up. So there is another tree here that I can't actually pass. So we just have to do it like this and just cross it this way. Works just as well. Okay, why did I not hit that? You guys saw me shoot arrows at that, right? Okay, gonna remove that piece of grass. And we're moving on to this part. So I need to light a couple beacons and stuff here. Just to, get so that we can actually move on. So that's, wait, actually shoot an arrow there. Now up here, I just lit one of the beacons up there, and there's actually a really cool trick you can do. I'm not sure if it's pixel precise, but it's pretty close. It might be a 2 or 3 pixel window. And basically what we're gonna do here, so normally you'd have to light several beacons all the way, with the hopes of actually lighting the other one, but we can do it like that. Just light it. You have to stand right at the edge there, and you can just light it up, no problem. Well, these blocks we know. And for convenience sake, just for old time's sake, we're going into the menu there. So I'm gonna keep on the bow for a bit. There's 6 enemies I need to kill here. Wow, okay, this is not a great start. There we go. That's more like it. So these skeletons, you can just one-shot them with the bow. That's the first amulet piece. Now for those wizards, we actually have a different trick for those. Oh, why was I on sword? I thought I was on bombs. So we can put a bomb there. They will teleport away, but because I'm in the menu, their hitbox is still there. So when the bomb explodes, we just instantly kill them. And with that, we've got the first amulet piece done, and we can start moving on. I should have actually picked up those 2 heart pieces. I'll take a heal later on. It's not a huge deal. So now that we have the first amulet piece, we can move out of here. We don't really need anything else here. So similar trick as before. This one literally only saves me taking like 6 steps, but it's still 6 steps. The forest, we do find out the forest was partially destroyed by this mysterious enemy. But I mean, we'll find him soon enough. So I'm gonna take 2 extra screen transitions, and that's just so I can heal up. That just adds to the safety of this next area coming up. So we've done a Zelda area, we've done a Final Fantasy area. Guess what's next? I mean, this next area is gonna get a completely different style again, but we're gonna glitch a lot of that. I'm gonna talk to this guy. This guy, he does something with card games, but we don't have enough cards. But for some reason that text box wasn't fixed, so we can just keep moving with that text box active. Which means I can talk to this girl who has a default heal and a default save. Now I do have to mention, yesterday when I was doing this, I actually somehow managed to find a soft lock, one that I had never even heard of before. Let's try to not soft lock today. So this is our little Diablo area. Now, we only have 3 hearts, which doesn't constitute for a lot of health here. We're gonna take the female protagonist, by the way, because, you know, gotta take the girl whenever possible. Grill strats. So yeah, that's chained combo hits, which is very, very important. So yeah, I healed there just in time. Hello? So I'm gonna hold on to this save as long as I can. So we're gonna try to save as late in this dungeon as possible. Obviously, we don't really care for enemies because killing enemies is slow and we don't have time for that. Also, this area, normally you'd have stuff like dynamic lighting and stuff, you know, to make it look good, because the Diablo does look a bit better than this. But we're, again, not gonna bother because it's slow. Actually did not take a whole lot of damage yet. We might not need to do another death somewhere. If I'm too low in my health just before the boss, I can opt to purposely die somewhere just after I saved. Because you can see I can take quite a couple hits along the way here. We have our heal. We still have our save though, so we should be okay. Yeah.
I said nothing.
So yeah, this floor, this is definitely how this game is supposed to look. Don't worry about it. All those weird lines everywhere, that's completely normal. Okay, let's not. So yeah, this is the area where I died, or where I soft blocked last time. So I cancelled out just to despawn the enemies there. They went back to their original position, and we're gonna unlock the boss here. This is the Undead King. He's got some pretty nasty moves like that, because those things actually deal a ton of damage. But we can just camp near one of those tombstones and start dealing damage. Okay, can I actually get him behind a proper tombstone there? His scratch attacks, so to speak, will still damage me a bit, so I gotta be a bit careful with my health. This guy can control a little bit, but we should be okay. Taking it a little safe here and taking it a bit careful, but I think I should have just enough health. Okay, those bats actually help because it means... Oh, okay, that's not a huge time loss. Don't worry, that's why we save here, because now I'm at full health. So yeah, I thought I had enough health to take that, but I got in a bad position near the end there and took a bit more damage than I wanted to. This boss is actually like, this guy can surprisingly quickly kill you if you're not tanking behind one of those tombstones. Because this guy, he hits like a truck. I remember the very first time I played this game, it took me like 6 tries before I figured out, wait, I can tank behind one of those tombstones and he doesn't really do a whole lot of damage anymore. And he's pretty easy to kill that way. Okay, almost there. There we go. Okay, that was a bit slower than I would have liked, but it was still reasonably quick. The Diablo area is usually the one that I struggle with the most, so getting them down this quickly is, you know, it's good enough. And this chest gets us the second amulet piece. So now that we have both of the amulet pieces, we can go ahead and move on to the final boss. Or, well, you could call him the final boss, except he really isn't. At least, well, he kind of is, but, you know, every boss in every RPG ever made has at least a second form. This guy will not be an exception. But now that we have the amulet, we can enter the Black Citadel and go fight him. Again, really easy walk here. Normally you'd get enemies with references to like Super Mario and Final Fantasy and all kinds of other games. But we're just not going to be seeing them. So this is the Black Citadel, and this is our boss. And you may have guessed it, his name is Zephyros, which is totally not a reference to Sephiroth. Yeah, I know, right? So yeah, this is Zephyros. We need to deal about 200 damage, if I'm not mistaken, before we're going to move on to into the second phase. That's, you know, you can see I'm dealing like somewhere around the 20 damage, just below 20 damage. With low rolls under 10, but most of them are between 15 and 20, so it shouldn't take too long to get that done. I'm also going to try to keep my health around 50, and that's just to speed up the fight a little bit later on, because near the end you're actually forced to die at one point, and if my health is too low, I may have to take like 2 or 3 turns, 2 or 3 turns more than I would have liked. This is also why I bought potions, by the way, because this guy, he heals he damages me a ton. An X Crystal generally does more damage than a regular attack. Okay, there we go. So he tells us he's tired of playing, he's done with it, and he's gonna do his special move. You may be guessing what he's gonna be doing from that. So yeah, that was the Zephyros fight, the first phase at least. I mean, he's not done just yet. He's gonna do something really nasty here. He's not just gonna defeat us, he's actually going to kill Kyrus here. Kyrus is dead. I mean, in our sadness, we unlocked our special abilities, our special power. We've awakened our power, and we can summon Bahamut. Totally not a Bahamut reference. Don't know where you're getting that from. So yeah, this is Bahamut, which is going to deal the final blow on this fight. This entire attack is the second phase, and the last phase of this fight. Now, we haven't yet killed Zephyros. He's just going to take off. We're going to be moving on to we're first going to have to move on to the actual final fight. That was not the final fight. We're going to be fighting Zephyros again. But in order, he went off to the mana tree, I believe it's called. I might be wrong there, but to heal up. And we need an airship to get there. Now, we just so happen to know somebody that happens to have an airship, right? You may have guessed it, it's Sid. I mean, that guy is in every Final Fantasy except Final Fantasy 1 with his airships, so should be fairly obvious there. And with that, we're going to once we get the airship. So it's just a cutscene here, and then we're actually moving on to the actual final boss fight. So yeah, we're gonna talk to Sid. Now, the entire town gathers around and mourns for Kyrus's death. But they also feel like, you know, I have the legendary sword. I should be able to defeat Zephyros. And with that, we're going to be sent off to actually fight Zephyros himself. Yeah, it is a mana tree. He just mentioned that. Wasn't completely sure there. So yeah, our airship is just waiting for us outside. And with that, we're moving on to the mana tree, where we're gonna fight Zephyros again. Okay, here we go. So Zephyros it's a 3-phase fight. We're basically back in our Zelda kind of style. So this fight, he's got three phases. He starts off with, well, this. This is Zephyros again, now in his much stronger form. In the first phase, I need to get rid of the 2 eyes on his hands. So I need to hit those a bunch. You can only get 2 hits off at once, as far as I'm aware. I've never seen anyone get 3 hits off in a turn. And we're going to try to not take damage, because we kind of need our health for the later phases. Okay, that was just 1 hit. Okay, that's one hand done. Okay, I completely missed there. Whatever. Okay, come on. This guy is... Okay, that was the first phase. So this is his second phase. He no longer has his hands. What we need to do here is we're going to hit him on the armor, and then I need to hit this orb. I need to hit it 4 times in total. 2, 3, 4. Okay, he always does 4, 5, or 6 of those bursts. Okay, nice. Got 2 hits off there. That's pretty hard to get, actually. Nice. Okay, so we're going into the final phase. Get ready on time. I need to hit this thing 4 times in total. So he can either throw red balls at me or blue balls, and it's complete RNG which he throws at me. I need blue balls as much as possible. So yeah, there's the red one. Oh wow, that was just off. Yeah, that sometimes you just can't hit him. Oh wow, I am really derping right now. That was pretty bad. Okay, finally, that's 1. I need to hit him 4 times in total. Okay, that's 2. Okay, time is as soon as after the first hit, once I closed off the last text box. I'll call it when it happens. Again, he's just not giving me a good pattern. I still need to hit him twice, by the way. Wow, I am barely off every time. Okay, 1 more hit. Okay, get ready. Time. Dude, that's a PB. That's an 11-second PB. Dude, wow. That's surprising, actually, considering I died a few times early on, but that's an 11-second PB. GG. So yeah, that that was Evoland any percent. We killed Zapharos, we get declared the hero, and with that, we're pretty much done here. We get a bit of an outro scene here, where we just see ourselves moving and evolving through the game once again.
I like the idea of the game.
So yeah, it's a really cool game. It's actually not that expensive too. I thought somebody recently mentioned he was able to get it on sale for like $3. And there is an Evoland 2, which is surprisingly big. It's like 4 times the length of this. It's got everything from 2D turn-based strategy and all that kind of stuff in it as well. So yeah, that was Evoland. Pretty much just a Zelda / Dragon Quest / Final Fantasy mashup / Diablo. So yeah, I think we're moving on with our next run. Not really sure what's up. Super Meat Boy. Okay, yeah, I've been looking forward to that Super Meat Boy run. So yeah, that was Evoland.